Good morning and welcome to Saturday's special of Dr.Lamba's Awakening Call. India is convulsed today politically, and it appears that there is a social divide. But is it there? The news that they come in the mainstream media are often convoluted news because the main media represents a definite segment of population called liberals, democrats, secular. They're good terms, but they lost their meaning. Nevertheless, that will take up some other time. But the protests against CAA have been there, as I've repeatedly said in my comments and in my writings, because people have not even understood what CAA is. It doesn't affect any citizen of India. It affects only those people who came from 3 neighboring countries prior to 2014, not after that. And those persecuted minorities are to be given fast-track citizenship. There's no discrimination. The Muslims who are not included in those minorities can also apply for citizenship, but they will not be fast-tracked, they'll be as ordinary citizens. So what's the problem? It's not divisive, it is just giving refuge the way USA has done it, which I wrote earlier, and that amendment was upheld by the Supreme Court of USA. Now, a curious thing has happened. India is a federation, it's a federal parliamentary democracy. The constitution by which the opposition swears, I'm sure they have not read it and they don't understand it. The constitution says that there are certain powers which are given to the center, the federal government. There are certain powers given to the states, and there are certain powers given to both, which are called the concurrent powers. The difference is that in the case of concurrent powers, both federal government and the provincial government can legislate. But in case of conflict, it is the central government rule which shall be applicable. And citizenship is a prerogative of the federal government, not of the provincial government, not of the state governments. Whatever the federal government says goes and is accepted until and unless that decision is ultra-wise. Now, those 2 provinces in India, 2 states, they're called states, the provinces are called states in India, have passed resolutions in their assemblies saying that these laws, starting from CAA to NRC, National Register of Citizens, which again is a valid thing because every country has a citizenship register. How do you differentiate between aliens and the citizens? Anyway, NRC will take up separately. But these 2 states, Kerala in south and Punjab in north, they have passed resolutions. Kerala has also filed a petition in the Supreme Court alleging it to be a dispute. Now, dispute is between 2 parties which have some claim. The Constitution very clearly states that the citizenship government who is to be given is a prerogative of the federal government. And when it's a clear-cut statement that's for the federal government to take a decision, where's a dispute? As a matter of fact, the Supreme Court, had it been judicious, should have dismissed that suit in limine, summarily, because there's no dispute. It's a malicious lawsuit only to create a disturbance. Now, constitutionally, whatever the federal government says has to be accepted by the states, and the states have no right, absolutely no right, to say that it is wrong. Yes, they can file a suit, but not as a dispute. They can file a suit that is unconstitutional. And if it's unconstitutional, it can be declared ultra virus and against Constitution. Now, what the Supreme Court does is later on, but these resolutions are wrong. In fact, they go against the Constitution of India because they are criticizing the Federation for doing something which is exclusive domain. So, what's the issue there? The issue is only petty politics, and secondly, that these legislatures, the lawmakers, are absolutely ignorant of the Constitution. Amazingly, they swear by the Constitution. They talk that the Constitution is being violated, and they do not know even the ABC of the Constitution, that what they're talking about is not in their domain. So, the situation is that certain political parties, having failed to engage the population, are trying to maneuver, manipulate people, even buy people. There have been reports and confirmed reports that the protesters, for example, in Shaheen Bagh, Delhi, are being 700 rupees per day to protest. So why should they go home if they can earn 700 rupees per day without working? And that's what's happening. Now comes the second part. Since these federations are the parts of the federation, these provinces, these states, have passed resolutions which are unconstitutional, and they cannot control the protests. Evidently, there is a breakdown of law and order. So the government of India can always declare that since the law and order is broken down, protests are legitimate, but violence is not. Let's be very clear. And the protests which are injurious to the health of the people are not wrong, not acceptable. Now, Shaheen Bagh and before the Jamia and AMU and JNU had put the citizens at risk. So that's not acceptable. Protest is you can take out a procession, you can shout slogans, you can hold meetings, but you cannot stop ambulances from taking the patient to the hospitals. You cannot bring the traffic to a standstill. You cannot stop normal working and put the citizens in jeopardy. And that's what's happening. So it would be justifiable and to invoke Section 356 to dismiss these governments. But I'm not advocating that. And I know if the government of India does it, there will be such a noise, and even the lily-livered liberals abroad shall be shouting at the top of their voice. So what can the government do? Easy, very easy. And this is what we had done way back. The Constitution of India gives the federal government exclusive right to decide the boundaries of the states. They can change the boundary of a state. They can also make new states, divide states, combine states. When they made Telangana from Andhra Pradesh, it was the federal government who did it. When Bombay was bifurcated between Maharashtra and Gujarat, it was the federal government who did it. When UP was divided into Uttarakhand, it was the federal government who did it. When Chhattisgarh was created, Jharkhand was created from Bihar, it was the federal government did it. And there could not be a protest. Constitutionally, it is extremely relevant and within the domain and the power of the federal government to create new states, to combine states or merge states, to divide states, and to fix the boundary of the states. Now, if Mr. Modi was to be more proactive, which he should be, an ordinance can be passed tomorrow, which can be approved by the parliament later on. And in the ordinance, they combine the states, and the 29 states are converted into 5 states. Punjab, Haryana, Himachal, Jammu and Kashmir made the North Indian state. Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh become central provinces. And there were central provinces during the British time, if you remember, CP. Then the eastern states, Bihar, Orissa, West Bengal, and the South India would be Kerala, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka. Goa can go with the West. Now, I am not taking up the Northeast because that's a different culture altogether and we don't want to disrupt it. So those 7 states in Northeast will continue, and the rest of India would be 5 states, North, East, South, Central, West. No regional names will be there. And these 5 new states, along with the Northeastern states, would form the new power structure. This is absolutely within the domain of the government, and the shouting chief ministers, premiers are called chief ministers in India, who have no understanding of the constitution, would be made shut. Mamta or Kejriwal or anybody else, they'll be more concerned with losing their places of power, and that will be done very legitimately. So the president issues an ordinance saying that India is a federation of states and the new states are these. For 6 months, this ordinance is valid, and in 6 months, with the majority that Modi has in the parliament, he can pass or approve the ordinance, and it will be perfectly constitutional. And the moment it's done so, the moorings of the opposition would be lost. There'll be a drift in the different seas. And then that will be a new ball game. The protest would immediately shift from CAA and NRC towards the objection towards the new states. One of my friends, Khalid Malik, has said, and if possible, be aware of the timing. Oh, he wants a segment regarding subcontinent local constitutions. Yes, Mr. Khalid Malik, we'll discuss it maybe on Monday, same time. So, the whole thing can be changed and set right within a matter of 24 hours. All the provinces of North India, combined as North India, South India, West India, East India, and Central India, 5 provinces. And the 7 provinces, of course, in the Northeast, continue as they are, status quo, no change in them. So instead of 29 states, we have 7 plus 5, 12 states. Now what's the benefit? A, the bickering of the opposition come to an end. B, huge saving in financial aspect. All the expenditure that's being incurred in 29 states would be divided by 2. 50% saving would be there to the national exchequer. And that 50% saving can be used towards reduction of taxes. And the people are happy. And if that is so, the whole population of India would be behind Modi, and all the maneuvering and the manipulation of the opposition, disgruntled, misinformed, uneducated, would be no good at all. No, I fail to understand why Prime Minister Modi has not taken this step. I am sure he would be aware of this constitutional capability that he has, the constitutional power that he has. Let him exercise it for the good of the nation, for the good of the people, and for the good of the country, for peace and for prosperity. Drastic diseases need drastic remedies. And this is a remedy which is constitutional within the domain of the federal government, within the powers of the Prime Minister. I dare him do it. I dare him in the good sense, not challenging him, but suggesting strongly that the sooner he does it, the better it would be. Let tomorrow be a new dawn in India with new states. And till the time the new elections take place, because the new elections are there, all the state assemblies are dissolved, and the governors and the advisors to the governors govern them. And the election commission says, should guarantee at the same time that the elections would be held within a period of 6 months. This would absolutely calm the situation. People would be happy. Opposition will be concerned with fighting the elections within 6 months. And nobody will talk about either CAA or anything else except what a revolution, constitutional, legitimate, desirable. Sooner we do, better it would be, not only for India, but for the whole of subcontinent. Because let's not forget, disturbances in India are also not conducive to the social stability in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Sri Lanka, in Nepal. So for the good of the peace in the region, and for good of the people of India, I suggest strongly to Prime Minister Modi to take this constitutional step forthwith without any delay. Thank you.